Hello and welcome to By the Mash Tun, a podcast by a couple of nerds where we brew some beer, drink some beer, and then have a little chat about beer. I'm Mike Harrison Wood.
I'm Carl Noble.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm really quite warm though.
It's a warm week.
Oh, it's supposed to get hotter as well, Mike.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh.
It's supposed to be like full on heat wave. Now I'm fairly confident we've been having a heat wave since March.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's rained.
No, and you hate warm.
I hate the warm. So, this is real hot for me.
Yeah.
And it's unpleasant.
You're wearing just your shorts again?
I'm wearing just my shorts.
Yeah.
Yep. Now that's how I do house.
Yeah.
You're lucky I'm wearing shorts.
Yeah.
I could just be wearing my underpants. In all fairness.
It's true. What are we brewing today?
I don't know. What are we brewing today?
Today, we are brewing a Black IPA.
Oh,
yes.
Wow. I do like a Black IPA.
Yes. A somewhat mildly controversial style.
Is it because it's the Black Pale Ale?
Yes.
Is it that?
So some people get really hung up about that for some reason, and even though it's just a word thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not
how could it be black and it be a pale ale? It's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it, because you're not drinking it in India either.
Exactly.
So.
And it hasn't been made to be transported to India. So
no.
Don't worry about that either.
And even under some definitions of ale, like if you go back centuries, anything with hops in wasn't considered ale. It had to be gruit. So
there you go.
We'll get into that
It's all wrong then,
It's
isn't
all
it?
wrong, yeah. But it is black.
And it is tasty.
Yes.
So there you go.
Lovely.
Excellent. Well, I think you've got the recipe there, so you can give us a quick talk through exactly what it is we're brewing.
So, first of all, I should mention what a Black IPA actually is, aside from the controversy.
Yeah.
Controversy? Or
controversy?
Yeah, one of the two.
Who knows?
It's a very controversial topic. A Black IPA is considered to be black, obviously, but also very hoppy. Okay. And it's not a particularly old style. It's only been around for about 10 years on a mass market.
Yeah.
Where you've got that big surge of American hop flavor coming in. And about 10 years ago, a lot of people thought, wow, let's put that in a dark beer instead of a light beer.
Yeah. So, but from what I know about black IPAs, they're not as kind of heavy on the malt character. It's not like they've just went for a hopped stout.
No, and that is a style.
Yes.
In and of itself.
Yeah, so it is different from that. It's not just that. It's like, okay, well, you've got a dark beer and they've just banged loads of hops into it. It's still got that light, clean, crisp taste, but with a bit of a dark roast undertone.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a balance between the two. It's not. Well, no, the stout. The hoppy stout is more of the balance, because then you've got quite an aggressive malt character and then an aggressive hop character, and they sort of mingle quite well. Whereas the Black IPA does have dark roast flavors, but they're very low down.
Yes,
and you've got the hop flavor dominating it a lot more, and the aftertaste then having that nice balance of the dry, fruity hop, and then just a hint of that dry, roasty malt.
Yeah.
So
okay, so what is the dark malt you're putting in it?
So the base malt that I'm using is Marisota.
Yeah,
it's
the one we seem to use just as standard as our base malt. And there's a little bit of it. And I know how much you like to eat Marisota. So I'm thinking about next time you come round for an evening of drinking, I'm just gonna put, instead of nibbles, just gonna put balls of grain out for you.
I would like that.
I'm sure you would.
Please do.
Okay,
but Marisota, very sweet, very white bready. You got just a little bit of that sort of white bread crust flavor, but very nice, very nice. Then the malt that I'm using for adding that darker, roasty, delicious flavor is one called Carafa 3.
Okay.
There's quite a few dark malts to choose from.
Yeah.
Or dark grains, I should say. The main two that have been used for many years are black malt, which is you take malt and you just roast it, and you keep roasting it until it's black.
Yeah.
And that's lovely.
Gives it a nice sort of coffee type taste.
Yeah,
the thing is, I find, like, if you don't get too dark, you get sort of like chocolatey notes. But then if you go darker, you end up with a sort of like roasted coffee.
Yeah, and real aggressive, sort of dry. You've also got roasted barley, which is similar, but you don't go through the malting process. And the malting process is when you get the grains slightly wet, so they start to sprout.
Yeah.
Converting a lot of the starches in the grain to sugars, and then you roast it to kill it off and stop it sprouting. With roasted barley, you don't malt it; you just roast the barley grain.
Yeah, so you're not getting any of the sugar, or not a lot of the sugars released.
Yeah.
That way. So
I mean, some of them
flavor
do come out anyway.
Well, yes, they will do, but not to the extent that would happen with, say, like a malted barley.
Yeah, although that would be presumably if it's in like 100%, you would get a lot less sugar. But the enzymes from other grains would apply in the mashing. Is that
yes?
Is that true? Is that how the science works?
Without having it written down in front of me, it sounds correct.
Okay.
But I would have to reread certain textbooks to, give you a solid yes or no on that one.
Well, now we know what to learn.
Well, there we go. Yeah, because it's definitely something I have read before.
Yes.
But, I couldn't tell you which enzymes they are or exactly how they function.
Cool. But then the third one, the third darker malt, is called carafa. And that is dehusked before it's roasted.
Okay.
So there's a theory, at least, that part of the really aggressive dry roast flavors from the black malt that are aggressive to the point where they're unpleasant sometimes come more from the husk than they do from the actual grain itself.
Yeah, okay, now I can see that.
And so the idea being that if you dehusk it first, you still get that dark flavor, you still get a bit of you still get that dark color as well. Yeah. But less of that aggression. Okay,
so you don't get that sort of like, it's got a slightly like acrid, burnt sort of taste.
Yeah, that's the idea behind it. Anyway,
yeah,
you see it a lot in the sort of Schwarzbier type German styles, where it is very light and clean tasting, but it is dark, and that's how you get that. Very low roast flavour.
I'm sure you didn't just bring coffee beans, because that's what it looks like and it's what it tastes like. It just looks like you've brought some ground coffee beans.
Yeah. For all that talk about it being dehusked and therefore less acrid, it's very acrid.
Yeah, but I mean, we are just shoving it straight into our face. Though.
Yeah. And that is Carafa 3, which is the most intensely roasted of.
Well, like whenever I've used it, I've always used it as a, like, right, I want some, big flavour going on here. And like, it really, really accentuates that flavour for me, I find. So it's used especially in black IPAs, quite small quantities, I'd have thought.
Yes, yeah, there's very, very low percent.
Do you know what your percentage is there?
Yeah, the percentage is 4.3.
Right, okay, so yeah, not a lot at all.
Not really. A lot, no. The rest of it's all Marisol. This is a very, very simple grain bill. I'm doing it just enough that it's black, but not enough that it's
really impart that flavour.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of what you want, though. Like when you're doing certain styles, simple's good. Like, there's something to be said for, like, big malt complexity and hop complexity and, all of that. But a nice, simple grain bill, simple hop bill is actually really nice. And
it is.
And very fun to brew as well, because you can, at that point, you can start maybe tweaking with how you're brewing process, as opposed to not really having to worry too much about the recipe you're using.
Yeah.
So especially if you're trying something new, if you've got some new equipment or something like that, I would always suggest nice simple recipe just to give it a go, because that if something goes wrong, it's not the recipe that's gone wrong.
True.
And that's it's good science, I think.
Yeah, one variable at a time.
Exactly.
Or minimize the variable changes.
Yes.
Brew. Yeah, and it's also a bit of a kickback from a beer that I brewed sort of 18 months ago, where I was going for more of a session black IPA.
Yeah.
About sort of 3.8, 3.9.
Yeah.
It's a style I've had before many times, and I very much enjoyed it. So I thought I'd take a punt.
Yeah.
It's the first attempt I did at a black IPA, and I went way too complex on the malt body.
Yeah.
And it was lovely, but it ended up way more like a very intensely hoppy traditional mild. So not traditional, but for a mild, basically.
Yeah, I think that can be the it can be the downfall for a lot of home brewers is going too complex too quickly, like thinking that every recipe has to be the weirdest and most wonderful thing you could possibly get a hold of, and it's like, nah, just stick to what you know, like get the basics down, and then really work. Like if you look at any professional brewery, you know, they will have got the basics down, they'll have got it nailed, and with the exception of a few, you won't see them banging out really obscure stuff all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's becoming more and more popular now, you know, like brewing with, well, what we were talking about last time, brewing with like burgers and fries and, you know, like you see all sorts of mad stuff going on.
But then,
you know, those breweries have got simple beers that they're also pushing out and have just got nailed.
And even then, the grain bill will probably be quite simple.
Well, I'd hope so. Because when you're mashing with burgers and fries...
you don't really want the malt to be the most intense flavour there.
No. So,
Lovely.
like that, I think that is... I think it's good advice for pretty much anybody is, you know, try and keep your recipes simple. Experiment.
Yeah.
But,
you know, lovely experimenting.
Yeah. But be prepared for those experiments to not work out as well as you expect them to.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, there are hops in it.
I should bloody hope so.
Yes.
What you got?
Just a shit ton, really. I went for mostly two. There's a tiny bit of Summit that I had left over from another brew just for bittering. So that's going to be in the 60-minute boil. And for as we've mentioned before, the hops that go in at the 60-minute point don't really give any flavour or aroma. They just give that dry, bitter finish.
Yes, yeah. So which hops have you gone for that?
So that's Summit.
So, there you go. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry,
did I say Summit or did it sound like something?
It might have sounded like something.
Summit. I put something in.
I put Summit in there. It's like, I hope so.
Yeah.
So Summit the hop. Right.
Summit the hop.
I'm with you.
Hello, Summit the hop.
Hello. That's good. So obviously you've gone for the high alpha, and the good thing about using something high alpha is it means you don't have to use a lot.
Yeah,
which is good. So
and Summit's high.
Yeah, so it's a good cost-effective way of brewing. I find just find a hop that is cheap and has real high alpha, and just use small quantities of that for all your bittering.
Yeah,
it's
not going to give much flavour, if anything.
Exactly. So just bang that in. That seems to work. So what have you gone for? Because you're going to be dry hopping.
Yeah,
you're going to have some late edition hops.
Yeah,
have you went for the same hop for late edition as you have for dry hopping?
Yeah,
or have you changed them?
I've not gone for a single hop. I've gone for a blend of two.
Okay.
One of them I've used many times before because it's relatively cheap and it's a UK hop. It's called Olicana.
Yes, yeah.
That is, very big fruity flavour.
I like Olicana.
Yeah, and then to complement that, I've gone with Chinook.
Yeah.
Which has obviously lots of fruit and grapefruit and that sort of thing, but also quite a bit of pine character.
Yes, yeah.
And
there's a resiny sort of taste to it.
And I know, talking to other brewers, I've not really sort of experimented with it myself, that one of the big hop flavours that complement roast is pine.
Yes.
And having pine and roast together is a lovely flavour. It's
like coffee by a campfire.
Yeah. Some of the more sort of zingy citrusy notes tend to be a bit masked by a bit of that body, so you might get grapefruit and orange and stuff like that coming through, but lemon sort of tends to get a bit squashed.
Yes.
You need a lot to give it some, whereas pine just it doesn't sit above or below, it sits at the side.
Yeah, it just complements it well.
They shake hands and have a good old natter around the fire. Lovely. In the woods. Pine and rose, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm with you for that.
Yeah.
So, anything else changed with this recipe? Anything different that you would normally be doing, but you're not doing this time, or something new you're doing?
USO5.
Yeah. So nice clean fermentation.
Yeah. Not too fussed about having yeasty.
Like reactivated the yeast.
Yeah. That's good to go.
Yeah.
Already. I didn't tweak the water because I still haven't
No,
really
well, that's
have
it.
my water tested.
Like when we brew around here, I use water treatment, but when we brew around yours, we don't. So.
Yeah, and well, I have been doing quite a bit of water research. I still haven't done a test of my own personal water.
Yeah.
But I know that we're in a very high calcium carbonate area.
Yeah.
There's just fucking chalk everywhere.
Everywhere. Just rolling down the street.
Exactly. And so whilst it may not be good for the real crisp, zingy IPA sort of and pale ale stuff, it does actually complement a darker malt very well, and it sort of rounds that out a bit. So with roast and pine and love, it should be quite a sweet, full, smooth black IPA, hopefully, without any changes to the water.
Well, I'm looking forward to it when it's done.
Lovely.
You know, it sounds just perfect.
Yeah,
just perfect.
So we'll see. The only other tweak I've done is more, because it's my favourite style.
More. I've just done more.
Yeah, I've made more.
How much more have you done?
I've done 40 litres.
Okay.
I normally do about 30, so that there's enough for one keg and quite a few bottles.
Yeah.
But I'm doing
a double kegging.
No,
or you just
I did keg and a shit ton of bottles. Sorry, I keep swearing. Is that fine?
Well, I think so, because chances are the vast majority of our audience are going to be of drinking age.
Oh yeah.
So you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, don't start busting out constant swear words.
Okay.
But you know, the odd occasional one, I think, is probably acceptable.
Yeah, that's fine then.
I think that's acceptable.
Yeah. So yeah, that's going. It's smelling lovely.
It is smelling lovely.
We tried some of these darker malts. The Carafa 3 is not very pleasant to eat on its own.
I'm thinking later on we try and make some coffee with it. Just bang it through like a. I wonder if you bang through a percolator or something like that.
Let's do it.
Or have I got a press thing?
AeroPress.
No, I don't have an AeroPress.
Yeah, okay.
Sadly.
Oh well.
well.
Right, let's listen to some beer ye. It's time for the beer news.
Let's listen to some beer news.
Yeah. Ooh. So the big news this week.
Oh, it is big.
Yeah, it's been rumored for a long time, and we've only got the confirmation this week that Heineken have bought a large minority stake of Beavertown.
A large minority.
Yeah. It's almost 50%.
Yeah,
isn't it? I can't remember exactly.
I think it was 49.5% of Beavertown.
Yeah,
Beavertown. A lot of people were not happy about that. Oh, were they not?
Beavertown, very well respected brewer.
Yeah.
From London that have been bashing out some very special beers for a long time.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like everybody knows their staples. Everyone knows, like, Neck Oil, Bloody Hell, Gamma Ray.
Yeah,
they've got some real staples in the sort of, like, craft beer scene. And they were on the go quite quickly. I mean, it helped that they had quite a good startup. You know, they weren't just starting off as like a small little brewery. They had quite a bit of money behind them.
Yeah, similar to other ones in our area, such as Siren Craft.
Yeah, exactly. So they were able to kind of enter the market quite large, which really helps because it means that when you do start getting big demand, you can actually meet that demand with your supply. Whereas some breweries fold through their own success because the demand outstrips their supply and they just can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
But they weren't in that position. So they did really well, established themselves really well. And now they've sold nearly half of their company to somebody else.
Yeah. So, important things to realise is that it's not a majority stake. So, Heineken cannot force them to do anything at any point. In theory.
No, but I mean, if somebody had 49.5% control of your body.
Yeah. Well, that's not. That's. It's a nice metaphor. I don't think it's fully.
It's not quite apt, no, because you are correct that in any sort of decision about where the company's going and what they're doing, they don't have the ability to just override a decision.
Yeah.
But what it does allow them to do that if they can just get 5% of the other 51 or 50.5% to agree, that's it. That decision's made.
Yeah, and there's a lot of presumably people that they can.
Well, you'd have thought so. I don't know the makeup of their board or anything like that, but Yeah, a lot of people weren't happy about it.
No.
Like to the point where Beavertown have like a kind of annual party, or kind of like mini beer festival, and some breweries have just went, nope, we're not doing that.
Yeah, Cloudwater with the big one. Yeah,
and a lot of people were going, I want my money back for my tickets.
Yeah,
and Beavertown have turned around and said, no, the event's still going ahead. You can't have your money back. So yeah, a lot of people are not happy about what's going on right now. I don't really know how I feel about it. I'm not pleased about it.
No,
but I don't think it's going to change Beavertown too much in the near future.
No, and I try and hold back from the sort of knee-jerk reaction of, oh, this is bad, no matter what.
Yeah.
And because just because they're big does not mean that they're evil.
No.
Yeah, so that's kind of tricky. We have to wait for them to do something that is bad before we can say that it's bad.
It all depends on kind of what their reasonings behind it is. Like, did they just want to kind of get close to 50% of their business just because they were profitable and they thought, well, we can make some money out of this and not change it. But even if that is the initial interest, these things never go by without some level of change. I don't think so. Things will happen, but they might be a positive.
Yeah, well,
they might not be.
As we mentioned in, I believe it was episode 1, when Fuller's took over Darkstar.
Yeah,
I've not seen any repercussions of that.
No. Well, no, like not at a kind of end of level sort of way, like not from the punter drinking the beer section of things. I mean, I imagine there's probably been changes within the company that if you work within the company, you've probably felt. But from the end product side of things, I haven't noticed anything.
Yeah. So, but then Fuller's have sometimes are weirdly hands off, and whereas Heineken, I don't know.
Well, that's it. It's whether or not Heineken are just going to try and increase volume to try and get their beers, to a wider audience. But that can have negative effects. I mean, like the big one to me that springs to mind is Doom Bar. I used to drink Doom Bar quite a lot when I lived down in Cornwall, and it was brilliant. Like, really, really nice beer. And then it just got massive. And now it's the real ale that is pretty much everywhere. And personally, I don't think it's very good anymore. Like, I think it used to be really nice, and then as soon as it became this is a big beer, mass production, they lost something, and ultimately that was going to happen because the recipe would have to change.
I do remember many years ago it did have a bit more of that sort of bite to it, a bit more malt, and then obviously you try it now and it's essentially just sugar water. It's so dulled down.
It was difficult to get a hold of outside of Cornwall and Devon when I was drinking it, and then all of a sudden it was everywhere, and literally everywhere.
Almost within the space of about 6 months, it just went crazy.
Yeah, it was. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not something like that happens with, I don't know, like Gamma Ray or Neck Oil, where it's nice and it's still quite big at the moment, but I mean, imagine if you start seeing it in every single pub.
Yeah. And that's another one of my big fears with it, is that obviously Heineken have an incredible distribution network.
Yes.
And when you do start seeing, for example, let's take Gamma Ray in country pubs around the country, if it's suddenly in every pub overnight, it's not going to sell quick enough for it to maintain good quality.
Yes.
And so you're going to have people, unfortunately, seeing this exciting marketing, oh, look at the nice shiny badge, I'm going to try it, and it's a bad pint because it's been in the lines for 3 weeks.
And then it ends up with a bad name.
Yeah, and then that person never tries anything interesting ever again.
Yeah, but then also the side, that side of it will lead to decisions of, right, okay, well, we're having to produce it on this amount, but we're not making the money out of it. Now we're going to have to compromise on ingredients.
Yeah.
Because the ingredients are expensive. And the thing with Beavertown is, because they went in with a lot of money, they were able to just go, sod it. Like, if it makes a loss, it makes a loss. It's our money. But as soon as it's somebody else's money, and they have a vested interest, yeah, you've got problems. So, like I say, I'm going to hold off on any sort of knee-jerk reaction of like, oh God, it's all doom and gloom. I'm not pleased that it's went that way, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Like time will tell as to what happens, and I don't think we're going to see any sort of major changes for another year or two.
And ultimately, the beer is still nice to drink.
So. Currently it is. But yeah, we'll find out.
Lovely.
Yeah, talking about beer.
Yes.
I think maybe having a beer might be a nice idea. But
yeah, I've eaten a lot of Marisotto lately, so I could wash that down.
And also some acrid coffee grounds. But yeah, before we get to that, I think it's probably worth mentioning the old Patreon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we are on kaiju.fm. That is the network that we are on, alongside lots of other podcasts.
Good quality podcasts, in fact. And to keep that network running, Kaiju FM has set up a Patreon page. So if you go to kaiju.fm and just hit the supporters button, that'll take you to our Patreon page. That is where, if you're feeling pretty flush this month, you can always chuck $1 or $2 in, and that really helps us out. It goes towards paying for the upkeep of the network. It doesn't buy our beer. Don't worry. We pay for our own beer. Yep.
That's not that much of an issue, but it goes towards keeping the network up and running, which is a great thing. There is different pledge reward levels, which you can check out on the Patreon page. And if you can't donate anything, and that's perfectly fine, there's other ways that you can help support the network, help support us. Listen to the other podcasts, rate them on things like iTunes, wherever else you listen to the podcast. That makes a big difference. And that's the Patreon.
Yay!
And it's a nice crowdfunding way of dealing with you getting to listen to loads of good quality podcasts.
Yeah, and seriously, check out all the other podcasts on Kaiju FM as well. They're all great.
They are. I think we've actually got an advert for one.
Yeah.
Coming up right about now.
Okay.
In a world that appears to make no linear sense, there is a time-travelling rabbit with an important agenda. What is it? No one knows, but it has something to do with basketball. Welcome to a reality where a famous pig actor turned despotic leader rules with an iron fist, and a psychopathic duck may be our only hope for salvation. Welcome to the Tooniverse.
The Space Jam Continuum is a show where two brave souls attempt to create a cohesive cinematic universe out of something that was never meant to be one. Looney Tunes, from 1937 all the way to Space Jam. Why? Because in an era where all people want is a cinematic universe and reboots of all cartoons, we're the only ones with a resolve to combine the two.
So join us every Wednesday as we explore the depths of the Tooniverse, slowly clawing our way ever closer to the 1996 classic.
That's the Space Jam Continuum, every Wednesday at kaiju.fm or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Oh, and we advise you start at the beginning.
It's a good idea. Right then, but before we get to this, Cascadian Dark Ale.
Yes! No, as I was pouring this beer, I suddenly remembered one of the issues with Black IPA naming has been that there was this tussle between 2 or 3 different names. So there was American Black Ale?
Right, okay.
Or was it Indian Black Ale? Or American... I can't remember all of them. But one of the interesting ones was actually Cascadian Dark Ale.
Interesting.
Yeah, named after Cascadia, which is a region of Northwest America. It's basically the north of California, Oregon, and all the way up to the top of Washington.
Yeah.
And that sort of mountain range up there is called Cascadia.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, where a lot of hops are grown.
Yeah.
And that was notorious for making Cascadian Dark Ale famous.
And then people just settled on Black IPA.
Yeah. Because it's, despite it having that contrary sort of description, it's more descriptive.
Do you want to try and bring Cascadian Dark Ale back? Is that what you're suggesting? You want to try and make this?
No.
Should I label this episode Cascadian Dark Ale?
I think it's a nice name because it doesn't have that contradiction inherent in it, but it's less obvious what it is for someone who doesn't really know what they're talking about.
As people, hopefully have been listening to this whole episode, they know we're talking about Black IPAs. Mike, tell us what this Cascadian Dark Ale is.
So we blathered on quite a lot about Beavertown, and this is a beer by Beavertown. It is their Black IPA. It's called Black Betty.
I do like this beer.
And it is 7.4%.
Holy cow!
Yeah. So Black IPAs do tend to get quite strong.
Well, it like as an IPA probably should be. It should be in the higher end of the percentage.
You tend to get them very similar ABVs to, for example, West Coast IPAs, where it's all the sort of 6 to 8 range in America at least. Whereas in the UK, that again creeps down 1% because of the UK sort of drinking culture.
Yes.
So one of the biggest names that I saw early on was Conqueror by Windsor and Eaton, and that is a 5% Black IPA.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, obviously, they're not shying around. 7.4 no. Black Betty.
Black Betty. It's a great can as well.
Yeah.
Something
nice
Beavertown have always done well. They've always done their art.
Yeah.
Nice.
What can you get in the nose there?
Definitely getting like a real hop punch, but there is that malty character, which is quite interesting because it like you look at it and obviously you're like, right, okay, dark beer, but as soon as you smell it, you're like, yeah, that is full of hops.
I think I just went to sniff the microphone then. That was a bit weird. Sorry.
I was going to say, do you want to lick the microphone as well? I mean, really, what you're sniffing is the pop filter in front of you. Lovely pop filter.
But yes, I agree. Hoppy, malty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real nice, though.
Yeah.
It's got a good complex hop character going on, I find. How's that?
Yeah, that's very nice. Considering this is our first drink of the day. And one of the points I bang on about a lot is that alcohol masks alcohol.
Oh.
So going for a weaker beer, then a stronger beer, means that a stronger beer doesn't taste as strong as it would do if you went into it first. Having said that,
which we have,
going into this first, it does not taste strong.
No, it doesn't. It like that 7+% that it has. It's like, you could get danger juice on this. Like this isn't this isn't tasting as strong as it actually is. It's very nice. It's got a real nice aftertaste to it. It's got that dark malt character, but with a real nice bitterness, which is coming from the hops. I think it would have been more unpleasant. More unpleasant. That makes it sound like it is unpleasant. It would have been
less pleasant.
Would have been less pleasant if that bitterness had come from the grain, whereas it hasn't. It's come directly from the hops. And it's real nice.
Yeah. And you still get that fruitiness of the hops right at the front, but it does tend to die down pretty quick. Same with the malt. There's a big malt flavour at the front, and then that dies away. And
there's a real sweetness as well, but I think that's probably the alcohol. I'd have thought.
Yeah, you might be right there.
Like right at the start, you just get like a real sweetness, and then the malt character just comes through, and then just a real punchy hit of hops.
Yeah, aside from the aftertaste, it's almost got like a big American brown sort of robustness to it.
Yeah,
you know, sweet, full, malty, hoppy, but then it gives way very crisply to that Black IPA finish.
Like that, the aftertaste, that's still there as well. Like the aftertaste, there's just this real nice bitterness. It's really good. It's quite, despite the sweetness at the start, it's quite dry though. I find.
Well, that was. You're pulling all sorts of
it's dry
faces. Dry.
My mouth is dry.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks Beavertown for that one.
Yeah,
if you change that, we'll be really upset.
Yeah. And if you do decide to change it, any of your back stock you don't want, by all means, send it to us.
Yes.
That would be wonderful.
Yes. Please send to Cal and Mike.
Yeah.
Please.
At one of their houses.
Yes.
In Reading.
Yes. Should we get another beer?
I think it's a good idea. Okay, what's next?
Ooh, very nice artwork on the bottle. It's a beer by De Cromme Herring.
De Cromme Herring? What's that all about? I presume
that's the translation. Yeah. No, translation, the pronunciation.
Yeah.
Which translates
go on, then.
To the Crooked Herring.
The Crooked Herring?
Yeah, these are from the Netherlands, and the beer itself is called Inkt Vis.
Oh.
which
it's fantastic artwork.
Yeah.
I love the squid attacking the diver, and there's some hops down there.
Yeah.
Who knows why the giant hops are down there? Because they're big hops compared to that diver. Does he take them down?
It's a strange world down
It is a strange
in the
world.
depths.
Is the squid a home brewer?
Maybe.
I'm guessing
He
this is
might
going
have
to be
made the
some
beer.
sort of Squid Ink IPA, isn't it?
No, it's just a black IPA.
Oh, right. Okay, so
There you go.
let's have a look at the bottle then. Oh, wow,
There's
look at that.
the
That's-
divers have some opinions, which they're talking about on the bottle.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, Inked Vis is a black IPA, as we think they are meant to be. A surprisingly refreshing dark beer that enriches the fruity and bitter aromas of the hops with a touch of dark roast. How do you feel about that?
Smells a bit different.
Ooh.
Well, the first thing to notice is it was a little bit over-primed. It poured very uncooperatively out of the bottle.
Was it stubborn?
Yes.
But it wasn't stubborn because it didn't want to come out. It was stubborn because it really wanted out.
It wanted to, it
was like, I don't
wanted
like this
to
bottle.
out too much.
Get me out of here.
It wanted to be on the sides, not in the glass.
All over the sides of the
Yeah.
counter.
So it's a
nice.
little bit weaker as well. 6 point. Hang on, the bottle's over here. 6%.
6%.
Yes.
What's interesting, like looking at this head, it was a lot larger when I got it earlier, but now that it's went down, it looks like a cross section of sourdough,
Yes.
all bubbly and stuff.
All bubbly. A little bit like Krausen almost as well.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's not.
No.
Oh, it
But,
smells amazing though.
Let's you go in for a little chat.
Okay.
It's the aroma is very good though. You've got pine, actual sort of pine on the nose as well as fruitiness, but it doesn't have that malt brunt behind it.
Oh, that is interesting. I don't know whether or not, because of the quite explosive nature of it when it came out, it's not that carbonated. Mine isn't anyway.
No.
I'm finding that it's not flat by any means.
No.
But it just seems that I think it blew its load on the opening of a bottle. I think that's where it mostly went.
It fussed all over the floor.
Yeah.
And then didn't fuss no more.
Yeah, exactly. It's very nice though.
So yeah,
Oh, that
real
smells brilliant.
big. I see what they mean about it being a bit more chocolatey in the body, but it's very sweet, very fruity chocolate, which lasts for a long time, but then does eventually give way to that black IPA finish, that quite dry and lingering.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same sweetness right at the start as the Beavertown one does either. So that does. I mean, obviously it is a bit weaker, but it does seem that the yeast is taking care of maybe a bit more of the sugar. So it's possible that there was slightly more unfermentables in the Beavertown one than just the alcohol would lead to.
Yeah. It is. I wouldn't say sweet, but it is rounded at the start.
Yeah,
it's not biting at all.
But it's definitely like real nice aftertaste. Like that chocolatey-ness is brilliant.
Yeah,
It's really good.
The contrast with the Beavertown is definitely the amount of time it takes to change from that first flavor to the lingering aftertaste.
Yeah,
because it's almost like 10 seconds before it finishes, and all you get is that dry hoppy finish.
Oh, it's really good.
Yeah,
might need to look out for more by these guys. Actually,
yeah. Decon
it's the first time I've come across them.
Yeah, they were at the craft beer festival in Reading recently.
Ah, were they?
Yes,
I
Craft
didn't go to
Theory.
that. I was out running.
Yes, they had a stand there.
I
They had
went
some
there.
very nice stuff.
Yeah.
Very nice stuff.
No, I did really want to go, but unfortunately the running of the day took precedent, and I just didn't make it back in time. These things happen.
It does.
But I'm getting to try them now, and I'm very happy about it.
Oh yeah, your big run's next week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's next Saturday.
Good luck.
Thanks. It's gonna hurt, man. It's gonna hurt. I am half tempted to, at the halfway point, because I've got a transition bag, to stash a quick beer in there and just neck it. Because like a quick can of beer,
Energy.
Well, it'll be like the alcohol help take away some of the pain. That'd be good. It'll be a nice little boost. The only downside is I'm probably going to have to down it quite quickly, so carbonation might become sort of like might be an issue. And also, any level. I mean, it shouldn't dehydrate me at all. The alcohol shouldn't be enough, but I am going to be. That's going to be 26 miles in. So I'm going to be fairly dehydrated anyway, so the alcohol's going to have a big effect.
Yeah, maybe go for like a super session one.
Yeah.
Last week's kettle sour. That'd be a good one to have.
Yeah, that could be good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm toying with the idea. I'll probably end up not. I'll probably just save any beers until the after bit. But I might take one of them along for the after bit because that'd be quite nice.
Yeah. Should we get another beer then?
It's not a bad idea. I mean, how many more we got left?
Just the one more.
Oh well, let's do it.
Yeah.
So what's happening here then?
So we've got a third and final Black IPA. It is by an Estonian brewery called Pohjala or Pohjala. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Look at that. No, I don't know why you're giving it to me to look at, but I thought I'd ask.
Yeah. Well, you are a linguist. That's not true.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. So this
Pohjala?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a go at it. There we go. Anybody else know? That'd be good. Chime in with your answers.
Please let us know.
Yeah, answers on a postcard, please.
Yeah. But this is so the bottle was a little bit confusing because
is it because you couldn't find out how to get it out?
No,
it's the top, Mike. It's always the top. Take the top off.
It's more the words they were using because they haven't called this a black IPA as such. They've called it a forest IPA, but then this is a black version of their forest IPA.
Inspired black IPA brewed with hand-picked spruce tips and forest blueberries.
Exactly, which sounds delicious. But when I first saw what
the serving, they've given a serving temperature. You don't often see that on a bottle.
Ooh.
Like so, serving between 8 and 12 degrees. I've got a thermometer around. We could actually check if we're serving this correctly.
Not proper fridge temperature.
No, like cellar temperature. So yeah, how is it?
Interesting.
Is it sprucey?
Yeah. Well, that's. It smells because it's not very strong. It's
7%.
7%.
Not very strong.
Not very strong
compared
to the Black Betty.
It's 7%.
But it's smelling a lot more imperial stouty.
Yeah, it is.
Like it's got that really dark malt flavor to it.
Oh, yeah,
smell.
Yeah,
sorry.
It smells like when I put it in my mouth, it's going to be viscous. That's what it smells like.
It'll pour slightly slower than most other beers. Oh,
how's that? Oh.
Yeah, that was complex. Sorry, I started talking just after I drank it, and then it just keeps going.
That's
it.
Wow. Like you need like a good 5 seconds of dead air just while you're tasting it. I'll give him time. Oh, he likes it.
So yeah,
right,
it's definitely imperial.
Keep talking for 5 seconds at least.
It's definitely imperial stout at the start. You got that real big, dark malt aggression, and that gives way. You've got fruitiness, and then like almost blueberries are there, but then it's dry.
Oh, blimey, governor!
Yeah,
wow.
There's all sorts going on in that. All sorts.
That was a journey. Yeah. I just went on a journey, and it was great. Yeah, right, real nice. So like sweet to begin with, like real dark, rich flavors, and then a slight sourness that comes through, which just disappears real quick into like a slightly burnt dryness. Just real good.
Yeah,
it's like I was part of witnessing the beginning and the end of a forest which died in a fire.
Well, it's a night out camping, isn't it? That's the point of this. Well, you've got the wood fire and the...
Yeah, I just felt like I went on some journey where I was just like, it was time lapse. I was watching this tree, the seed fell, sprouted, grew, and burnt down to the ground. The sourness was the starting of the fire.
Man, that is a hell of a trip.
And I know, right? 7%, you say? Woo!
Yeah, and that tastes stronger than 7%.
Yes,
just the intensity of the flavor is huge.
It is that real heavy hitting start, but really good.
This is not a smashable beer.
No,
like the Black Betty, nearly 0.5% more. I could drink a can of that in 20 minutes. There's no way I'm getting through this anytime. Close to that.
I still think this might be my favourite out of a lot of them, though.
Yeah, I just had a Black Betty sip in comparison, and it's just not. It's just fine. It's okay. It's sweet and smooth, and
it's almost too sweet now.
Yeah,
that's almost too sweet.
All right, and then dechroma.
I am getting slightly different flavours at the end with it, though. Now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I am. That's interesting.
Good, better?
Good. There were flavors I weren't picking up earlier, and they are very nice.
But no matter what order you drink them in, the Black Forest IPA just cuts through everything.
Squid.
Yeah. Oh, you're having some more squid ink.
It's not squid ink, though. But yeah, no, that is nice. But that definitely tastes a lot thinner now.
Yeah.
But I think anything would taste thin. Gravy would taste thin next to this one.
All right.
That's intense. This Black Forest one.
Yeah.
Wow. It's really good, though. I like that.
Yeah, it's not a traditional Black IPA. I really got to give it that, though.
Yeah, no, they've done very well.
Yeah, it's a very delicious beer.
Cool.
Very delicious beer.
I suppose, we talked about our beer. We've drank all these beers. There's probably only one more beer left to try. That's the Wort. How's it tasting?
Oh, lovely.
I think that's probably it.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.